Hello my fellow book lovers and welcome to today's video. I am actually genuinely excited to be making this video because obviously, as you guys know, like every year at the end of the year, Spotify does its own Wrapped. And even this year Fable did its own Wrapped, and basically when you go on your Goodreads and it tells you if you completed your reading goal, it tells you what your reading year was like. So I decided to do my own 2024 reading Wrapped. I did just do a book awards video, but I felt like that video wasn't very, I don't want to say that video is very like accurate to like the way my reading year was. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I did not have the best reading year. Yes, did I read and surpass my reading goal? Absolutely. Did I read a lot of books? Yes, I did. I definitely did not have a great reading year. So I decided, let me just do my own little reading Wrapped, which I hope you guys enjoy because I spent some time doing this and trying to figure out all the math and the numbers, and I am terrible at math. Really hope that you guys like this, and this is definitely way more accurate to the way that my reading year was with all of my statistics. With all that being said, let's just get into my 2024 reading wrap up. Perfect, we are in my 2024 reading Wrapped. Cool. Okay, so as you can see, obviously, this is what the screen looks like. My 2024 reading Wrapped. Before we get on started, could not figure out how to make it appear one at a time as you were clicking it. And I obviously am using a Canva template, so I'm sorry, you're gonna get all the information all at once, which is not something that I wanted. I wanted you all to be revealed and be surprised. My year in books, okay, this, I just used a little template. It says you smashed your goal this year, because I did. My goal was to read 80 books this year, and I ended up reading 107, which is awesome because I literally last year, remember, I wanted to set a reading goal. I set a reading goal of 100 books. I made it to 75, and that was a struggle. And the fact that this year I had set a goal of 80 and I read 107, crazy. That's insane. Read 107 books this year, which was a lot, honestly. And I feel like it's so weird to have like such a weird reading year and not have a good one when I read 107 books. That's just the way it is. I don't know. Next step. In total, I read 39,550 pages. That's crazy. I didn't even look up how many pages that is per book or per week or anything like that. Let me see if I can do the math for that statistic now. I don't think I can. 370 pages per book. I think that's right. 370 pages per book on average that I read this year, so that's pretty crazy. This is not going well already. It's okay, because I can't make them pop up and make you surprised, which is a lot. I mean, I was so close to 40,000 pages. You think I would have just read a couple extra thousand? I just had to read one more like 500-page book and I would have been there. All right. Oh, I did do this. Okay. I'm such an idiot. Okay, the average book length was 369 pages. So that is all the books combined. It's not like literally every single book I read was 369 pages. That is the average length of every single book I read this year. Oh my god, I can't believe I read books, just that many books in general, and then that many pages. The shortest book I read was The Lost Sisters by Holly Black, which was 47 pages. And then the longest book I read was the Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, which was 800 pages. So if you haven't heard of either of these books, well, one of them I can understand. The second one, Are You Under a Rock? The Lost Sisters, this is actually a novella of Elfhame, which literally says it on the cover, by Holly Black. This book comes right after The Cruel Prince. Like literally it's the book right after the first one. This one is in Taryn's point of view, which is Jude's twin sister, and basically it like kind of made me hate Taryn even more than I already did. Sorry, that's a bit of a spoiler. If you did not know anything about The Cruel Prince, I'm gonna spoil it right now for you. Taryn's the worst. Just saying. So just when you go into it, you're gonna be like confused. Anyways, yeah, so the shortest book I read was The Lost Sisters by Holly Black. Like I said, this is told in Taryn's point of view, and she's basically telling Jude, it's like basically a letter to Jude or a story to Jude telling her like why what happened and trying to explain herself and make her not be this like victim or villain. You know what I mean? So that's basically what that book's about. And then obviously Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This is the 5th book in the Harry Potter series, the longest book in the series. Okay, it is 800 pages. You guys, I don't even think last year I read a book this long. I think A Court of Silver Flames, and that was just under 800 pages, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, I exceeded the longest book I read this year, and hopefully next year, 2025, I'll be reading a book longer because there is a series that has a really long book that's almost 1,000 pages. So I had an average rating of a 3.7 stars. I would say this is fairly fairly accurate because like I said, I did not have a very good reading year. A lot of the books I ended up rating were around a 3 stars, 3.5 stars. I think I had maybe 4 or 5 5-star books. When we get to my top books of the year, you'll kind of see those books. They weren't even books that I even rated 5 stars at first, but I think I'm gonna end up like changing their ratings just because of me putting them on my top books of the year. I'm gonna have to change them. There were some books that I did rate 5 stars that I'm actually gonna drop down to probably a little bit lower, like a 4.5 or something, just because they're not on my top reads of the year, because I honestly don't even think about them or really cross my mind. Maybe sometimes, like maybe in the beginning they felt like a 5-star, but I really, like I said, did not have a great reading year this year. So I didn't have too many 5-star reads. I had very many average books, very like meh books, ones that like kind of hit. I was also in a really big slump this year. I was in a slump for, I want to say, majority of the year, honestly. Like from June on, I think I was in a slump. And every book I read after that, books that I thought I was really, really going to enjoy, they did help me out, but they didn't like hit the way I thought they would have, due to the fact, I think, because I was in a slump. But anyways, moving on. My favorite genres to read this year were, 1, romance, and this is based off of the amount of books that I've read in each genre. So I don't have it written down because the way I got this information was through Fable, and the Fable numbers were not accurate. Somehow my Fable got like all messed up this year. The numbers were not accurate to what I put in Goodreads when I imported it for some reason. I don't know. Can't tell you exactly the amount of books that I read in each genre, but I think I read around 79 or 80 romances just this year alone out of the 107 books that I read. Second, we have young adult books. Third, we have sports romances, which is honestly I'm not surprised at, because I did read a lot of sports romance this year now that I thought back on it. Like when I looked at this Fable statistic, which these ones I can say are a little bit accurate, it was more of like the amount of books I read this year was a little bit skewed. I can say that this is still accurate. I did read a lot of sports romances, and I didn't even think I read that many. But you guys know that I'm obsessed with hockey romances, and that's where this came from. I read a lot of hockey romances this year, okay? So many. Next, fantasy, which I, again, didn't read that many fantasy this year, which is kind of surprising because I think last year I ended up reading a lot of fantasy. Like once I got into it, I read a lot. And then this year, my lowest was thrillers, which is surprising because I do love thrillers, but I got also into my audiobook year, and I mostly want to listen to thrillers in audio. I feel like I just don't really like go towards my thriller books anymore, because if I'm gonna listen to an audiobook, it's more than likely gonna be a thriller. I feel like that's why I kind of didn't read as many thrillers this year. I am in the top 5% of romance readers, and this is a This is a statistic I got from Fable. So yeah, 5% of romance readers. That's pretty crazy. And then I also saw that I was in the 5% of young adult readers. For not being in the young adult age range anymore, which is crazy. I can't believe I'm, old. I hate myself. I'm really not that old, so I don't know why I keep saying that. I think it's just because I feel old. I'm in the top 5% of romance readers. That's all that was really important on this page. We're gonna move on. 74% of my total books read this year were romance books. Like I said, I read 107 books, and then I think around 80 of them, around that range, were romance books. Now this also includes like the holiday romances that I was reading like during this past holiday time, things like that. And if they were like fall romances, and just in general like very like specifically niche romances, it includes all of those, not just like a general romance book. My most read authors this year, which doesn't surprise me, like the fact that first J.K. Rowling, 7 books. And the reason I put J.K. Rowling first rather than Elsie Silver first, which I should have, now that I'm thinking about it, probably put Elsie Silver first because I enjoyed her books way more than I enjoyed the Harry Potter series. It was the most recent one that I have done. I read all of J.K. Rowling's books like basically back to back, so I did just end up putting her first because I read her in such a short amount of time span compared to everyone else. So first we have J.K. Rowling with 7 books. Second, we have Elsie Silver with 7 books as well. Elsie released 2 books this year, as well as I read the entire Chestnut Spring series by her this year, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I absolutely loved. It is an awesome series. So if you guys haven't read that series yet, definitely go ahead. And then these last three, obviously all tied for 3 books. The amount of authors that I read 3 books from this year was so many. All of them were tied between 3 and 2. So I basically just put them right now in the order that I enjoyed the books most in, or the authors that I kind of enjoyed most with the books. So 3, we have Stephanie Garber, which I ended up reading the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy, which I absolutely loved. It was such an amazing storytelling capability she has, as well as just the storyline in general and like the fantasy element. She just like really brings you into that world that she's created, and it's so romantic and whimsical, if that makes sense. 4, we have Hannah Grace, which I read 3 books by her, which was the Maple Hills series. I really enjoyed Icebreaker and Wildfire. I did not enjoy Daydream as much as I wanted to, so hence why she is number 4, because I enjoyed literally every single book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy so much, like literally so captivated the entire time. And then 5, we have Bella Matthews, and if you guys don't know who this is, I'm not surprised. She is like a very indie author. She has all of her books out on Kindle Unlimited. Let me tell you, these books are not the best thing I have ever read. They are certainly not I don't even know what to say, because sometimes I've noticed some like, not plot holes, what am I trying to say? Grammatical errors and things like that in her books as well after they've been published. And they just give good vibes, okay? They are such a fun, silly, goofy time, and they just give Wattpad, okay? They really do eat, and so like, every single book that I read by her this year, I thoroughly enjoyed. They're so quick and fast-paced reads. They're all sports romances, I'm pretty sure, almost all of them. Bella Matthews has created this whole entire universe and world, and has published so many books underneath this one entire universe that I haven't even skimmed the surface of yet, okay? I have only read the 3 books by her. When I first started the series by her, I didn't even realize that it was like a bigger universe that she has created. And so the first books in the series ever, the first books, follow the parents of the characters that I've already read about. I just wanted to finish that one series first. I do have to go back and read about the parents and everything like that first, which I'm very excited to do in the new year. I think that's what I'm gonna do. They're great palate cleansers, and like I said, if you're just looking for a silly, goofy, fun time, these are it, okay? A book with some spice, that's short, that's fast-paced, those are it, okay? So hence, that's why Bella Matthews is number 5 on this list, tied for all those, okay? She's just a silly, goofy, fun time. I spent around 1,318 hours and 20 minutes reading this year, compared to, or out of all of the books that I read. That is insane. How many days is that? I didn't even look that up. Let me see. Let me look up. How many days is that? That's about 55 days. It says 54.9 days. That's crazy. I spent, honestly, that's not even 55 days out of 365. That is not as many as I thought. 55 divided by 365. That's like 15% of my life this year. That's really not as much as I thought. That's crazy. I really thought it was more. I think that's right. Like I said, I'm not good at math. We're not gonna get into it. We're gonna keep going. Okay. My top 5 reads of the year. Okay, guys, we have finally gotten to my top 5 reads of the year, which I am so excited about. Like I said, some of these I do have to change like the ratings for, because I did end up rating them something different. So at number 5, we have The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. This book is my favorite book out of the entire Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. I don't know what it is about this book, but it is just something else, okay? It is just so magical and whimsical and romantic, and I just love it, okay? I am a sucker for a villain. Let's just say that. And Jax, in this second book, is a king. Anyways, we're gonna move on. Number 4, we have Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I have found myself coming back to this book a lot this year. Not necessarily like rereading it or anything like that, but more of like coming back and like thinking about Nate and Stassi. I don't know, I just loved them. I just thought the dynamic was really nice between them, and just the story in general was very entertaining and very interesting for me personally, like in my taste in reading, as well as I liked that Hannah Grace really wrote a character I feel like that deals with like real college issues, identity and like body dysmorphia and things like that, and having an eating disorder. So those are like some triggers if you don't know what that book. And she, I feel like, makes a really accurate representation of like a college athlete, because they're both college athletes, and like the time and like commitment and everything that goes into being a college athlete is a pretty big deal, and they both are very much into their sport. And I think it really shows like a really nice balance between their relationship as well as their relationship with their sport. Number 3, we have Funny Story by Emily Henry. Are we all shocked? You should be, because I am. Okay, coming up with this top 5 list before I go on was so hard, because like I said, I did not have the best reading year. I didn't really have a lot of 5 stars, and some of the books that I did make 5 stars, I do end up having to change because I just don't think about them, you know? The Ballad of Never After I did rate 5 stars, and then Icebreaker I actually rated 4.5 stars. Funny Story I ended up rating 4.25 stars. So both of these do actually have to be changed to 5 stars, because I actually do come back and find myself thinking about these books a lot. And that's something that happens to me quite often, is that I find myself like rating books like on the spot, something different, and then later end up rating them either higher or lower. And that happened with almost every single book on this list this year, which is crazy. But yeah, Funny Story by Emily Henry is number 3. Isn't that crazy, you guys? And I always say this in every video, I'm not an Emily Henry hater. I'm just not a lover, okay? Every other book that I've read by her has just not been as good as everyone hyped them up to be. I find them to be kind of like very slow paced and very boring, and that's just not my cup of tea. Funny Story, no way, shape, or form was like that for me at all, okay? I really went into this book with the lowest expectations and expecting this to be a book I was going to DNF, as well as be like, this is it for me. That was our last straw. I am never buying or reading another Emily Henry book again. Miss Queen has changed my mind, and is lucky that I'm okay, she's not lucky. She's an amazing author, and I'm never going to take that away from her, because that is something I can give her. Literally, she's an amazing storyteller and an amazing writer. I can't take that away from her or say that's not true, because she is. Like I said, her stories are just like, her books are just not my cup of tea. But this one was, okay? I love a rom-com, and this read like a true rom-com. I recently have been thinking about some of the scenes in this book. More specifically, if you guys know what this story is about, basically, Funny Story is about our 2 main characters, Miles and Daphne. Their significant others end up breaking up with them for each other, if that makes sense. So Miles and Daphne were living with them, and then they were broken up with. They moved in together, and then Miles and Daphne moved in together because they both needed someone to live with. They needed help paying like their rent and stuff. So it is a like roommates, like forced proximity, things like that. But it reads like a true rom-com, but there's like more to the story than just like this romance aspect as well. Like you get so much like development in all these characters, like how well they work together, and that they just are such unlikely friends, but how great they are together even as friends before they're a couple is great. So basically, yeah, that's like kind of the gist of what happened. They move in together. There's a really funny scene in Funny Story where and I think about it all the time recently. Daphne goes to knock on Miles's door because she keeps hearing this like same song playing over and over again. So she goes to knock on his door, asks him if he's okay. And so when he opens the door, it's like she sees that he's clearly like crying or whatever, and being like, hey, like I'm just checking on you. And he's just like, oh yeah, I'm just watching this movie with this scene, like just this movie. And she recognizes a song from the movie, being like, Miles, that's a 20-second scene. And he had been playing it for 20 minutes straight, I'm pretty sure. Like he had kept going back and replaying that one scene for 30 minutes. And she's like, Miles, that's a 20-second scene. I just thought that was so incredibly funny, and I still think back on it, and I don't know if anyone else thought that was as funny as I did, but I do. Anyways, we're gonna move on. Number 2, we have If We Were Villains by ML Rio. This is another one where my rating for the book changed within 20 minutes. Like literally, I read this book, I rated it 3.25 stars. 20 minutes later, 5 stars. Literally, like I still think about this book. I thought this story was so okay, I don't want to say fun, was so intriguing and so different compared to anything else that I had read before. Yeah, this is like a dark academic mystery, if anything. This one follows a group of students who go to this really prestigious art school, and our main character, Oliver, is just released from prison for a crime that we don't know if he committed or not. And basically this story is being told through Oliver's point of view, basically telling you everything that happens that leads up to this crime and everything after, like confessing everything. And you still don't know, like up until the end of the book, if he had or didn't commit this crime. And number 1, we have Heartless by Elsie Silver. Again, this is another one that I had rated, I think 4 stars or 4.25 stars. And you guys, Willa and Cade just hit different. I don't know what it is about this book or about what Elsie Silver put in it, but it was like crack to me, okay? I have gone back and thought about this book time and time again. Like literally, I love them so much and this couple and this story that I really want to go back and just reread the book and just have a jolly good time, okay? I absolutely loved them, and Cade and Willa. And the kid in the book wasn't annoying. This is a single dad nanny trope. That's all I have to say about it. Okay, I literally am just so in love and obsessed with this book that I just need everyone to go read it because I love it and I'm obsessed with it. Also, if you love a cowboy romance, this is it. Queen Elsie writes amazing romances. I will tell everyone till the end of Earth to go read this Chestnut Spring series because it is amazing and I absolutely love it. That's all I gotta say. And that is it for this 2024 reading wrap up. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is crazy. All right, you guys, that is it for my 2024 reading wrap up. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Definitely a different change of pace compared to some of the other videos I filmed in the past few weeks and in the past year, I guess. Yeah, I decided I wasn't gonna do like a top 10 books of 2024 or the top 24 of 2024 because like I said, I just didn't have that great of a reading year, so I wanted to, I don't know, just do something different, do something that was a little bit more accurate to the way my reading year was. So I think this will be one of the first videos that's posted in 2025, so stick around this year, okay? I've got some great reading content that I'm already making and that it's already supposed to be coming out soon, I hope. I'm actually not too sure. My timing is never great. My planning is also not good, so literally, who knows? Please stick around if this is your first video you're watching from me, if you enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to follow me on all of my social medias as well as subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.